Hello and welcome to this session on image classification using convolution neural network. I am Abhishek, working at NMM Institute of Technology. Will be taking over this session. So the main agenda of this session is to build and train a convolution neural network to recognize if there is a dog or a cat in a given image. So that is our main objective of today's session. So before I proceed further with the practical activity in this, let me give a small introductory note on artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, as well as the data science. Okay, so as you can see in this picture, we can see the deep learning is a subset of machine learning, as well as the machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence here. So actually this artificial intelligence basically helps in enabling the machines to think without any kind of human intervention, right? So it means that machine is going to take its own decision in this case. As we think this as an outset, actually this is the final goal. We are basically creating an AI application like self-driving cars which does some particular task. So artificial intelligence is the final goal, what we would like to have it at the end of the task, right? So when I talk about machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, as you can see in the diagram. So it provides us with statistical tools to explore the data and helps in understanding and analysis of the data. So basically the machine learning deals with three different approaches, as we all know, like supervised learning, where we have the labeled data, and with the help of those data we actually will be able to predict our future, right? So when I talk about unsupervised learning, we won't be having any kind of labeled data. Means we do not know the actual output. So this approach will be best used to solve the clustering problems. In case of reinforcement learning, some parts of the data will be labeled and some parts will not be labeled. So the machine learning models learn by seeing the past data, and it will be learning as soon as the new data which keeps coming up, right? So now when we talk about deep learning here, so this is the main focus of area for today's session. So deep learning is a subset of machine learning. The main idea behind the deep learning is to attempt some kind of complex problems like can we make machines learn like how we learn with the help of our human brain. Actually you know that human brain will try to learn the things from what we see, right? So here we create architecture which is called as multi-neural network architecture. Remember, the main idea behind deep learning is to mimic the human brain. So in deep learning also we have some kind of various techniques such as artificial neural network or convolution neural network or recurrent neural network, which we call it as RNN. So the most of the data actually present in the form of number will be solved using ANN. The data actually present in the form of the kind of input image, in the form of image, will basically use CNN. And suppose if our input is in the form of time series kind of data, we will be using RNN technique, right? So basically we are trying to use this technique like machine learning and deep learning to derive an AI application. So now when we see the data science here, so this is a technique which tries to apply all these techniques like machine learning, deep learning, and any other mathematical tools like statistics or linear algebra or probability. So a data scientist will have to work on this kind of areas like machine learning, deep learning, based on the types of use cases by using some kind of mathematical tools like statistics, linear algebra, and probability, right? So in this session I'll be focusing on deep learning and its techniques to classify a given input image to a cat or a dog. As we are all aware that deep learning is gaining much more popularity due to its supremacy in terms of accuracy when trained with a huge amount of data, right? So CNN are the kind of deep neural networks which were designed from the biologically driven models. So this technique resembles the process of how a human will perceive an image into the brain in different layers, and that's how this CNN was designed. And hence it has been proven very efficient for all the image processing even pattern recognition kind of applications also. So at an outset, I would like to show you a simple diagram. Let me show you this of how actually a CNN will look like. So this is the diagram of CNN architecture. As you can see that there are different layers here. There are different layers in which the images are going to go through from the input image to the fully connected layer, right? So as you can see, I have an input image here. This input image goes through a bunch of layers. We call it as a convolution layers. So these convolution layers are the set of filters which are applied to a given input image. So these are none other than the filters here, which tries to extract the features from the given image, right? The processed filter are activated data which will go into the another layer which is called as a pooling. So these are the again the bunch of layers what we have, it is called as a pooling layers, right? Then the pooling layer is a kind of non-linear downsampling layer which operates on each feature map. It operates on each feature map independently here. The main function of pooling layer is to reduce the size of the image so as to reduce the amount of parameters and computation in the network. Please do remember this. So in between the pooling layer and the fully connected layer, what we have is we have a flatten. So this is called as a flattening layer. So which actually transforms or converts the pooled features or 2D matrix of features into a single vector or column that is fed into the next layer called as fully connected layer or fully connected neural network classifier, right? So this fully connected layer are the layers where each node, as you can see it here, where each node, right, is connected to the next node. So in the coefficient, so it's a huge data driven mode which has multiple sets of output from a pooling layer, and it collectively draw multiple best cases for the objects into the consideration. So this is a typical network of convolution neural network, and how an image is visualized through CNN and an object is detected. So that is what we have seen in this image. As we can see that the basic purpose of CNN is to extract the features from an input image without compromising the quality of data, right? So coming back to the application, CNN is applied in mobile applications for gesture control, even for surveillance, for object or human detection, for classification, even in case of automotives for image segmentation, even pedestrian detection, and many more. So with this I conclude my brief introduction on CNN, and now let's move on to the practical activity session on image classification. Right, the best and the most advanced programming language used for deep learning, obviously it's a Python. As we can see, there are more number of applications are being developed using Python for deep learning or any kind of other classification models, right? As it includes all the necessary libraries which are developed by Google and Facebook especially. I hope you all know that the Google has developed the TensorFlow and the Facebook had developed the PyTorch, right? So these are the two most popular frameworks for deep learning which I am going to discuss in this session, which are called as Keras and TensorFlow. The Keras is basically an open source neural network library written purely in Python. So it is also capable of running in top of this TensorFlow. In case of TensorFlow, TensorFlow is also an open source software library for data flow processing or data flow programming, which crosses a range of tasks in that. So it is used highly for machine learning applications such as neural networks. I hope you got the picture here, right? So in this session, I'll be demonstrating the practical implementation on the various parts of CNN, which includes data pre-processing, wherein we try to train and test the data set what we have. We try to pre-process all the data. Later on we'll go with the building of CNN, which consists of several steps like convolution, pooling, flattening, full connection, as well as the output layer. Later on I will train the convolution neural network by compiling it and training the CNN on the training set and evaluating on the test set. Finally, we'll try to make a single prediction in order to test our model for its accuracy. Right? So I'll deploy our model in CNN in two different images, that is cat and dog, so that the model can recognize respectively the dog and the cat. Right? So I just would like to show you the data set before I start with the implementation. You can see the data set which is there in this particular directory. CNN is a path here, and you can see the directory. This I borrowed it from the Kaggle repository. Okay, you can see here the data set contains three subfolders here, where the first folder is the training set, which consists of images of cats and dogs. There are two folders, as you can see. Let us see how many data we have in cats. Right, in cats we have around starting from 1 to 4,000. So 4,000 cats images are there, and similarly we have 4,000 dog images. Right? Similarly, we also have a second folder which is the test set. So this also contains the cat and dog folder, where in cat we have around 1000 data, 4001 to 4000, 5000. So there are 1000 cat images as well as 1000 dog images. So total 2000 testing set and 8000 training sets. Correct? Later we have a single prediction folder here which only contain two images, that is a cat and a dog, and this would be to test the model in production. So this we are going to do it at the end of the stage. So we will use these images to test that our CNN can detect the dog or cat in a given image. So with this problem, we are going to build and train a convolution neural network to recognize if there is a dog or a cat in a image. Right? Okay, now let's start with the importing the necessary libraries for our implementation. Before I proceed further, I hope all of you know how to install the Keras and TensorFlow in the environment of Anaconda. So I'm using Anaconda Navigator here. So you can just go to environments over here. In the environments, you can already seen that I had already imported all the packages and libraries of TensorFlow as well as Keras. But if you are not installed it, just type, just go to create over here. Just go to create and type TensorFlow. As I already typed, it will show me. But if you are not imported the package of TensorFlow, please type TensorFlow here and click on create here. Okay, once you click on create, you have to go to this combo box and select on not installed. Okay, after that you have to search for TensorFlow here. Once you search for TensorFlow, you will find it. So for example, if I search in this way, TensorFlow, you will find it here. This is the one. You have to just click on this and click on apply. Once you click on apply, all the package will get imported to your working directory. Right? Similarly, you can click on Keras and click on apply over here. So this is how I imported all the required packages for implementation. Hope you understand. Right? After that, you can take any editor you wish. Few of the people will consider Jupyter, but I am more comfortable with Spider. The version of Python what I am using is 3.7. So this is for a kind information. Let me begin with the implementation stage. So as you all know, we'll start with the importing the libraries. So first of all, I will try to import the TensorFlow library. So I do it using import TensorFlow as TF. This is the nomenclature, right? After that, I would like to import a image data generator class. Okay, so to do that, I call it from Keras library. So from Keras dot preprocessing dot image, because we are dealing with the image data set. and from this I import a class called as image data generator. Image data generator. That's all. Right? So these are the two lines I just imported for my study. So let us execute this. At the very beginning, said before that, please ensure that you are in the right folder. As of now, I'm not. So we need to go to the right folder. Yes, I set my folder. I'm going to click. After this, we'll see the version of the TensorFlow also we are using. Yes, so TensorFlow is running from backend, as you can see it very clearly. So let me just try to print the version of the TensorFlow now. So I will just type it here in the console itself. So the command is tf dot underscore underscore version underscore underscore, and you can see the version of TensorFlow I'm using is 2.1.0. some will be using 2.2.0 also, right? So now let's move on to the data pre-processing, which is one of the most important step we need to do before we proceed further for building our CNN. So this will be done in two steps. The first by pre-processing the training set, as I already mentioned, and second by pre-processing the test set. Now at a very primary stage, let's start with the training set. So what we do means, in this stage primarily we will apply some kind of transformations on all the images of the training set. But remember, we won't apply this on the test set. The reason for applying transformation on the training set is to avoid the overfitting. So if we don't apply, then training our CNN on the training set, we will get a huge difference between the accuracy of the training set and the one on the test set. So please do remember this, right? So this may lead in gaining like a higher accuracy in a training set and lower in the test set. So to avoid this overfitting, we are applying this transformation techniques. Okay, so let me repeat this. Actually what happens means, in the pre-processing stage, I am going to apply this transformation techniques. The reason is to avoid the overfitting. So if you don't do this transformation, and if you build your CNN, and finally when you are going to evaluate your model based on its accuracy, you see that you get around 98%, 99% in your training set. But in a testing set, you will get around 70%. So this means that you are trained the particular image without properly pre-processing it. So it was going overfitting. So due to this, what I am going to do means, I am going to primarily transform all my image, and later on I will build my CNN model on it. Right? That is what I was telling. We are going to apply some kind of geometrical transformations like transfections to shift some of the pixels. Then we will rotate bit images and do some kind of horizontal flips, zoom in and out, and so on. So thus we are going to apply like series of transformations so as to modify the image and get them, as we say, augmented. This process actually we call it as a image augmentation. So which consists basically transforming the image of the training set so that our CNN model does not overlearn or overtrain on the existing image. So by applying this transformation, we are going to get new image, which is the reason we call this as a image augmentation. So now let's see how to implement it. So the first of all, I would like to create an object called as train underscore data gen. So this is the object, and via this I am going to call a class called as image data generator. Image data generator. Now we need to pass few parameters for this. The first parameter what I am passing it is a feature scaling, and the next three parameters what I am passing is a transformation techniques. So remember, only two things I am going to use here. One is feature scaling technique, another is a transformation techniques. Okay, so let me first write the parameters here. So the first parameter is rescale. So I am using rescale is equal to 1 by 255, as you can see it here, right? Rescale, I am giving 1 point divided by 255. Let me explain you later. First let me put all the parameters. After that I will be using transformation techniques like shear underscore range. Okay, I will make use of 20%, so it is 0.2. okay, so 0.2. then I'll apply zoom range, again 20%, so it is 0.2, and the final one is a horizontal flip. Okay, horizontal underscore flip, which I will make it to true. So this is the boolean value, so I'll make it to true. So as you can see now, we have total 4 parameters. So this created an object called as train data gen, of which class image data generator class, and which represents of course the tool that will apply all the transformations on the images of the training set. Here rescale equal to 1 point divided by 255. This is all about feature scaling, as I already mentioned you. So this will apply the feature scaling to each and every single pixel by dividing their value by 255. As you know that each pixel takes up value between 0 and 255, right? So this will help in feature scaling method. The rest of these 3 lines, as you can see, the shear range, zoom range, and horizontal flip. Okay, so this will perform image augmentation or a transformation techniques on the images of the training set, and these are performed in order to prevent overfitting at the end. So here the shear range, as you can see, 20% has been given. This is randomly applying the shearing transformation. The zoom range is for randomly zooming inside the pictures and outside, as well as we see the horizontal flip. This is for randomly flipping half of the image horizontally, right? So this is all about the first pre-processing stage, that is for the training set, correct? So let me put it in this way. Okay then. So now we need to connect that train underscore data gen, this object, to our training set images, right? The way we are going to do this is by giving it path directly to the working directory. So let me do it. So we have an object again, training underscore test, training underscore set. So this is my object, which equals train via this train underscore data gen, correct? Via this train underscore data gen, I import library called as flow from directory, flow from, right, directory, flow from directory. So now we should know what are the parameters we need to pass it here. I hope most of you might have understood here. The parameter is, the first parameter is the path of the training set. What is the path of the training set? That is, I was here, we have data set and we have training set. So I need to go inside this, correct? So I type it as data set slash training underscore set. Okay, so this is the path of the training set. Along with that, we need to pass the target size. Let me explain you later. First I'll type it target underscore size, which equals to 64, 64. Okay, then let me use the batch size. Let me use the batch size, batch underscore size. I will take it to 32 here, and finally the class mode to binary classifier. Okay then, so these are the parameters you had seen here. So now what we are, let me try to explain you one by one. This will actually import the training set by accessing it from the working directory, at the same time creating these batches and resizing of the images. So why we do this resizing of the images or the target size, as you can see here? So this will try to reduce the computation of the machine. Actually we can also keep the target size to 150, 150, but it may take long time for the computation of the training set. So let's keep it for 64, 64. So okay, so this is the target size of the image, right? And this will make the training much faster. And later on you can see the batch size here, right? So this is the size of the batches. That means how many images you want to have in each batch. Okay, so I'm telling that I want 32 images in single batch, 32 images in single batch, and 32 is also a classic default value where all the people will make use of it. And finally we have a class mode which had given it as a binary. As you know that we are dealing with the binary images, right? We have to keep the class mode to either binary or categorical. Since we are dealing with the binary outcomes, we'll keep it as a binary. Else we can also keep it as a categorical in case you are dealing with the categorical data set. But as of now we are dealing with the binary outcomes. That's the reason why I'm using it as a binary. Hope you understand this. So this completes with the pre-processing of the training set. Now let's move on to the next step in pre-processing the test set. Okay, the same thing we do it again and again. As I already mentioned you earlier, we are not going to apply any kind of transformation techniques here. Hope you understand, right? So we are applying only the feature scaling technique here. So how do we do that? I required an object called as test underscore data gen, as we had train underscore data gen, which equals to, we are calling which class now? Image data generator, and we pass only one parameter, as I hope all of you might have got that, that is rescale, which is equal to 1 by 255. That's all. So this is the test gen. So remember, we are not going to apply the same transformation techniques in the test generation also, such as what we did, like shearing, zoom, and horizontal flips, right? Because we don't want actually to touch this kind of test images, because they are like new images, like when deploying in production, correct? And therefore we have to keep them intact like the original image, right? But however, we have to rescale their pixels. Okay, so now let's import the test image. It's time to import the test image from its directory. So how do we do that? Again, test underscore set, which is equal to, via test underscore data gen, will try to import a library called flow from directory, as we did the same in case of training set. Now what all parameters we need to pass? The first parameter is none other than the path of the test set, correct? So what is the path of the test set? That is data set slash, let us see the path here, data set slash test set, correct? So slash test underscore set. Okay, so we are done with the first parameter. What can be the second parameter? Second parameter is again the target size, correct? No, because you had seen that we had given the size of the image to 64 cross 64. The same size has to be also be given to the test set, correct? So you can copy and paste these 3 lines again. So just copy and paste these 3 lines. It's one and only the same. So you can see it here. This will access the test set from the directory and apply the same target size and batch size as we did it for the training set. And of course the same class mode, the binary also. Remember this. This we are done with the data pre-processing. Next we'll move on to the most interesting part on building our first convolution neural network. So convolution neural network is still a sequence of layers, and therefore we gonna initialize the CNN as follows. So first thing we have to initialize our convolution neural network. How do we initialize it? We need an object called CNN, right? Via CNN, I access the nomenclature of TensorFlow. Via TensorFlow, I call another library called as Keras. From that, I go into the models, and finally, I import a class called as sequential, right, with the open and close parenthesis. And now, step by step, we are going to use or add different layers like convolution layer, fully connected layer, and at the end, of course, the output layer, right? So this is how we initialized our CNN. Now let's try to add our first convolution layer. Okay. So first we'll take a CNN object from which we gonna call a method called as add, because we are adding a first convolution layer. So there is a method called as add method, right? This is to add our very first convolution layer. Now we add it. So this convolution layer will be an object of a class called as conv2d class, and this class just as the dense class which will also build the full or fully connected layers belong to the same model, which is a layers model from the Keras library from TensorFlow. So I call this class convo2d from tf.keras.layers. So I write it in this way, tf.keras.layers. From this module I import a class called as con2d, correct, which accepts few parameters. Now let us see what all parameters it is going to accept, right? So this con2d class, we have to input 3 parameters, which are the filters. Second parameter will be the size of the kernel. Third parameter will be the activation, and finally the input shape. Okay, so let us see one by one. First we'll see the filters here. I will give the filters to 32. So what exactly I did here? So this is nothing but basically the number of feature detectors we want to apply to our image in order to detect the features. Okay, so how many filters I'm using? I'm using 32 filters, so that 32 filter will act independently to extract the features from the given input image. Or we can also call this is none other than the number of output filters in the convolution, right? Next parameter, we should also specify the kernel size. This kernel size is exactly the size of the feature detector, meaning the number of rows to the number of columns. That is, we are using for this study is 3 cross 3. So I will give the kernel size as 3, kernel underscore size equals 3. Don't give 3 cross 3, you give it as 3. If you are using 4 cross 4, you can give it as 4. It is left to the user. Okay. Next parameter will be the activation. So this activation corresponds to the activation function, because indeed you know on a general rule, as long as we have reached the output layer, we rather want to get a rectifier activation function, and therefore for this activation we are going to choose the one of the important function called as ReLU, rectified linear unit, right? So we use it as ReLU as of now. There is one more called sigmoid also, that will use it for the output layer. As of now we'll use ReLU, rectified linear unit. Got it? Now finally we have to add the input shape of our inputs, and here since we are working with the colored image, therefore in 3-dimension to RGB code of colors, and since we are actually resizing the image to 64 cross 64, though the input shape of our image will be 64 cross 64 cross 3. Got it? So now what we are doing means we are going to add our fourth parameter, that is input underscore shape. And what is the parameter we give in square brackets? We have to give it like 64 comma 64. What is the 64 comma 64? This is nothing but the size of the image. This is the target size. I hope you remember it, right? 64, 64. You can see the target size of the input image. So the same thing we have to give it here, 64, 64. And since we are dealing with the colored image, so it will be 3. Why? Because we are using RGB color mode. So it will be 3. Got it? If it is in case of grayscale, you can make it a use of 1 here, 64, 64, 1. But now we are using colored image, we are making use of 64, 64, 3. Right? So here we came to an end of the first convolution layer. Correct? The first convolution layer we came to an end. Now we can move on to the second step called as pooling. Okay, so we'll go to the second step called as pooling. So this consists of applying pooling. More specifically, I am going to use max pooling in this kind of case studies. Okay, let's start doing it. We have to take an object again, CNN, from which we are going to call a method called as add, of course, because we are going to add a new pooling layer. So add method where we are adding the pooling layers to our convolution layers. Correct? So inside the add method, that the max pooling layer will be created as an object or an instance of the certain class called as max pool 2D. So this is the class we are going to import again from which particular module, tf.keras.layers, right? So we'll write it tf.keras. From the TensorFlow we import a library called keras. From that we import a module called as layers, right? From that we import a class called as max pool 2D, right? Max pool 2D. Yes, done. And how many parameters we pass? We pass only 2 parameters. Which are those 2 parameters? Let me show you a picture over here. This is in case of max pooling here. You can see that is 2 cross 2 here. Can you see this? 2 cross 2 matrix which will be slided throughout the above the feature map. Correct? So whenever we are going to slide it all over the feature map, we are going to slide it at least stride of 2. You can see after 0 1 0 1 we are directly coming to 0 0 1 1, right? Later on we'll go to 0 0 and nothing here. Later on we'll come down to the next level here. So this is how we do. So we have only 2 parameters. One is the size of the pooling. This is the size of the pool, that is 2, and the stride to which it is moved towards the right, it is also 2, because first pixel, second pixel, we are going to the third pixel. So each and every time we are moving 2 pixel towards right. That is why we are using stride of 2. Okay, so the first parameter will be the pool size. So it will be pool underscore size. So what is the pool size? As I told you, it is 2, and the strides will be also be 2. Correct? So here the pool size is exactly the size of the frame, and the other parameter stride equal to 2, where stride is the by which the number of pixels in the frame is shifted towards the right. So in our case, as I shown you in the picture, we are shifting it by 2 pixels, so I am given stride is equal to 2, right? Yeah, by this we had applied the max pooling successfully to our convolution layer, right? So this is the end of session 1 as of now. So with this activity I'll end my first session, where I gave you on brief insight on artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, as well as data science. Also we had seen how to augment the image in terms of pre-processing stage. We also seen how to implement how to add our first convolution layer and pooling. So in my next lecture, in session 2, we will have practical activity on adding our second convolution layer with the applied max pooling again. Then we will see how to flatten the convolution layer into one-dimensional vector. Later on we will also see how to add a new fully connected layer and an output layer, right? After building our convolution neural network, we will also discuss on implementation steps in compiling our CNN to optimize the loss function and to train the CNN on the training set. Later we will also learn how to make a single prediction and to deploy our CNN model. Right? So until then, happy learning guys. Thank you for watching.